Hi there, I'm Nancy from Black Sheep Knitting in Needham, Massachusetts. I'm here in my yarn shop amongst all of my yarn. And so to say that I have a big stash is not an exaggeration, because I guess all of this is mine. Wanted to start by thanking all of you who send us comments. We really like hearing from you. It's great to know that people are watching us and following this podcast. We do a podcast once a week, and we try to give helpful hints and things that we're learning about and things we're just finding out about and showing things that we love. One thing that occurred to me, it would be really fun to know where you're from and what you're knitting. So what I would like to propose to all of you, faithful viewers and new viewers, is to send in write in the comments where you're from and what you're knitting. We would love to know, and if we see that a lot of people are knitting the same thing, we might have to get samples made in that. We might have to talk about that. And if you have any topics you'd like me to cover, I'd love to know what your questions are and what things you're interested in. So if you could do that this week, we would really appreciate it. It would be fun to know if we have people from across the pond, as they say, or south of us or north of us. So do let us know. I have some announcements. We have a workshop coming up in beginning knitting. So the amazing Deanna is going to teach a beginning knitting class. So this is, if you've got a teenager hanging around the house who's over 16 and needs something to do, this might be a fun thing to get them to learn to knit. But if you're any age above 16 and you don't know how to knit, or you have a friend, a relative, somebody who you think might like to learn to knit, we're offering this workshop. It's 4 classes beginning July 22nd. I think you can look on our website and find the exact dates. They might be 2 weeks in a row and then a break and then two more weeks, simply because of scheduling. So this would be a great opportunity, something, to do if you're casting about for some activity this summer, or you have a kid that is. This would be a great one. So sign up online or give us a call. So the first class is the 22nd, which I believe is next Saturday. So you have this week to sign up, and hopefully we'll get enough people to run the class. The other announcement I have, well, there are 2 more, is that the amazing Bruce Weinstein is coming back. And I think I mentioned this before, but he'll be here August 5th. That's a Saturday, all day, starting at 10. And he's going to be doing, which will be fun, speed knitting, learning to knit faster. He's going to teach also, so he wants you to learn to knit without looking, which people say to us a lot, how do you do that? How do you do it? Well, he's going to show you how to do it, because it's a great thing if you want to watch TV, or if you're at a baseball game watching your kid play, you can knit and watch at the same time. It's not easy to do complicated knitting, but if you're just, doing straight knitting, or, an easily memorized pattern, it's nice to not have to look all the time. He's also going to be teaching continental knitting. Those of you who want to learn continental, it's a great, I found it while I was recovering from my shoulder surgery. Look, no sling. But when I was recovering, I couldn't knit at first at all, but I couldn't raise my arm. But I know how to continental knit, and I do switch back and forth from time to time. So I just started knitting continental the whole time.
Have you stuck
And
with it?
I'm sticking with it, yeah. I go back and forth depending on what I'm doing. I'm not great at purling. I'm not as fast. I can purl easily, but I'm not as fast as I'd like to be. So it's good. It's a great thing if you have a long row of knitting to just do Continental. It goes much, much faster. And he's also going to talk about combination knitting. I don't know what exactly.
The dates?
I guess he's talking about the difference of like doing all your knits Continental and your purls. The tricky thing about switching from Continental to English style is that your gauge may be different. I've worked on it enough so that my gauge is the same. It doesn't change really, but that's something to look out for. So that'll be the first half of the day, and then Bruce brings lunch. He makes 3 vegan salads and sometimes some lovely cookies. Last time, I think he made snickerdoodles. They were delicious. So in the second half, in the afternoon, he's going to do more woven stitches. So he did people were fascinated by the ones he did last time. They really had a good time. And people enjoyed the fact that they didn't have to make a project, that they were learning a skill that they can use for, put it into something else, put it in another project, in a scarf or a sweater or something. So they had fun, and he showed it with different colors, and people really enjoyed that. So
When is that?
so the workshop is going to be August the 5th. So that's coming up. So you can call the shop, and we'll put it online so you could register online. Either way, it fills up fast, and some people were shocked at how quickly it filled up last time. So I recommend get on the stick and sign up. He's a lot of fun. People just love him. So I recommend that. The third announcement I have is that I'm going to do another sock workshop. I don't have the date. It will be in August, but just be aware that that's coming up. And we'll do toe up magic loop socks. And I might offer to people who are interested a pattern to put in a pattern as in, cable or something, so that you have some kind of little bit fancier sock. So some people are interested in that. Also want to remind people that we still have free shipping through the end of the month, so take advantage. I did have a question that we didn't get back. Somebody emailed me, and I don't blame her. She said say that you have fast service and you pride yourself on customer service. And she had asked us something, and we didn't reply to her right away. And I apologize for that. We've had a lot of people on vacation, so I have different people working at different shifts and different people checking the email. I'm back now for a week, and then I'm going to be gone for another week. But we'll try to get back to you as soon as we can. And we're not ignoring you, we're just busy. And that's really not an excuse. We will try to be much better about getting right back to you if you have a question. I wanted to talk today, keeping with our theme of becoming a better knitter. I thought, nobody talks about needles very much. And needles, to me, the needle you're working with makes a big difference. And it makes a difference in terms of what fiber you're using, what project you're doing, and that there's a lot of difference in needles. I personally have some favorite needles. We don't sell them in the shop anymore. The one that I really love, and not many people like them, but they're Addi lace needles, and they tend to get this coating on them if you don't use them, and people don't like that, but if you start to use them, it goes away. I myself like needles that are very sharp and very pointed. And for things like knitting with mohair, knitting lace, you really do need a pointy needle. Now, the good news is they didn't used to, but one of the main suppliers of wood needles, and the one that we use, is Clover. And their needles did not used to be very sharp, and they were very pointed. Now, these aren't so sharp that they'd put a hole in your finger, but they do have a good point on them, and they're nice and smooth. So that's a change. So I thought I would show you, I'm going to start with these bamboo needles. So this is an array of the Clover bamboo needles that we have. The circular needles come in size 16-inch, and that means you're measuring from tip to tip. Some people get confused about that, but the measurement would be 16 inches from tip to tip. These are typically used for a collar on a a sweater. You can use, sometimes if you're making baby things, you can use a 16-inch needle, but it's for a small number of stitches. The next size up that we carry is a 24-inch, and these are used pretty much for everything. Scarves and cowls, and if you are starting out on a sweater from the top down, you might start with the 16-inch, and then you're increasing stitches, and it gets to be too many stitches for this needle. You would go up to the 24-inch, and then you might finally end up with a 36-inch. They have a 29, and we didn't find that many people bought those. So, and a 36-inch is a great needle for an Afghan, something big. The other little secret that they should put on the back of these, and they don't, that when you take this out of the package, it has a the plastic on the needle, on the cable. I don't know if I can get this. Oh, yeah, I can. It has a memory, and that memory can be incredibly frustrating to knit with. See how it stays in this curly Q thing? Well, what you do is you boil a cup of water, and you put, although this one's not so bad, maybe they're changing them. The cable this might be a little lighter, but if you get one that the curl does not want to come out of it, dunk this in a cup of boiling water, or water that has boiled. Do not get the join in, because that will loosen this up. But just, for 30 seconds, take it out and then stretch it tight. And that will get rid of that curl, because it's been sitting like this in the packaging, and it tends to have a memory. So that's a little hint, and you can do that on all sizes. Circular needles, I find, are the best because you never lose the second needle. You know how you lost a needle and you can't find it, and then you have to go buy another whole set. I have, as I tell everybody all the time, I have arthritis in my hands, and my hands are very stiff, and so I drop things very easily. So for me, circular needles are the best, and of course they're meant to be used to knit if you're knitting something in the round, like a hat. So this 16-inch needle is perfect for a hat, and you can fit the number of stitches. Usually it's between 80 and 100 something you can fit easily on this. And when you get to the top of the hat, where you're starting to decrease, you would need double pointed needles, and these are double points. And you divide your stitches generally onto 3 needles. So usually divide them evenly, and then with the 4th needle you use to knit off each successive needle. So it allows you to knit something very small and to decrease. which you would not be able to do with this. You could do magic loop, which I'll talk about in a minute. The other needles that we have are these 9-inch single pointed needles, which is, most of us all learn to knit on single pointed needles. I never use them anymore, again, for the simple reason that I don't want to drop them. And often, a lot of the things I knit are knit in the round because I knit sweaters a lot. But they come in we have them in 2 sizes, and some people prefer them. These are 13 inches, so you can fit a fair number of stitches on there. So those are the wood needles. So the next thing I'm going to show you are metal needles, and this is a company called ChiaoGoo, which is new to us in the last several years. We've tried different ones, but we happen to like these a lot. I think partly we like the tips. They're nice and pointy, but they're not so sharp. We had some before, I'm even blanking on the name, but I thought the tips were too sharp, and that people ended up complaining that they were poking themselves. These are nice, and what we like about them is the actual cable. The cable is quite nice. It doesn't get a curly Q thing in it, and it's nice and flexible, and it's good for magic loop. And I talked about magic loop before. Generally, I do all my socks and collars and sleeves on magic loop, and that means I use a 32-inch length, so that's from tip to tip, circular needle, and you end up dividing half of the stitches on one needle and half on the other, and you knit one half and then the other half, and that keeps it in the round, and you can knit any circumference that you want with that. And that's a tutorial on that is for another day. But we have these are not, they come in 2, but what I meant to say is that ChiaoGoo come in 2 different types. They come in the stainless steel and in the lace stainless steel. So we can get a 9-inch or a 12-inch size 0 up to an 8. And remember, when they're giving you that size, the size relates to the diameter or circumference of the needle itself. So these, you'll see how tiny they are. You could knit a sock or a baby's sweater sleeve or something. I thought at first I was going to really love doing this. I don't. I prefer magic loop. But some people really like these. So you can get them in a 9-inch or a 12-inch. Now I find a 12-inch is a little bit more manageable, so I do that. The sizes that the ChiaoGoo and even the Clover, they go up to size 60. So it goes 16, 24, in the case of the Clovers, 29, 36, 40, 47, 60, I believe. The metal circulars are the 9, 12, 16, 24, 32, 40, and beyond that, I don't know if there's a 47, but I think there is a 60. So if you were crazy enough to be knitting something that you could put on a 60-inch needle. They also go up to, and they jump. As far as I know, the largest size we carry in, thickness is a size 19. I have used a 35, went from 19 to 35 to 50, I believe. I don't know that there are any numbers in between, but the 50s are fat. And while I think that appeals to a lot of people because you could get this really thick wool and knit on it, well, trust me, it's not fun to knit on. It kills your hands. I have an Afghan at home going And when I pull it out, I can only manage to do about a row. It's really painful to do. The next thing I wanted to show you were interchangeable needles, and people have gotten very excited about these in the last several years. They've been around for a while. I can't remember the name of the company, but there was a company that made Denise, I think was the name of the company. We carry the ChiaoGoo, and we've carried different ones in the past, but we like the ChiaoGoo. These in particular are the ChiaoGoo. These are in wood, but we carry that we can get them in metal, and they come in, this set is a US 9 to, no, whoa. I guess this set is a 2 to 8. But in the case it has space for 9 up to 15. It comes with cables, and you simply screw the cable into the tip of the needle, the end of the needle. And it has a little, I don't know where it is in this set, but there should be a little tightening thing for it. You can also get these, and the ones I have are the metal ones, and they're really nice to have because you can switch them around. And what we carry in the shop are, we have extra, the kits come with extra cables, but sometimes you've got a piece that you're working on and you need that needle, but you don't want to stop knitting it. So you can actually leave it on the cable, and they have stoppers you can put on the ends, or you can put your own stoppers on the end, and then just take the needle and use the other cable. So, and we can order these for you. We don't keep a ton of them in stock because they're kind of expensive, but if you have a birthday coming up and you're looking for something for your favorite person to get for you, one of these sets is terrific. And it keeps your needles organized, and you can carry it with you, on the airplane or wherever. We also sell, this is a new product. These are shorties, and I've shown these before. And they come in, this particular set is 0 to 3, 2-inch, so the actual needle itself is about 2 inches. They're teeny tiny, but they're great for, socks, if you want to knit socks or something really small. They also come, there's another set that's blue that goes maybe 4 to 8 or something, 4 to 8 I think. There's another one, yes. So there's 9 to 11. It comes with the little cables. So this is a fun set to have. I think they're just kind of cool. And I love this little packaging. So that said, I could probably go on about needles forever. One of the things I would say is that wood needles are less slippery, so if you're on a project, suppose you're knitting something in silk, you might not want to, in a shiny silk or mohair, you might not want to be on a metal needle, so you might really want to do wooden needles. So, it's nice to have both. I keep mine organized in baggies, good old baggies, and I label them. I have all my 5s, all my 3s, and then they're all in a big heavy plastic bag, so I can get at them easily. Some people said that they put all their 16-inch needles together, which I think is not a bad idea. So I thought I would talk a little bit today. I saw a question on a podcast I was watching. Someone was wanting to know, do you pull from the inside or the outside of a skein or a ball? So this is a ball, this is a skein, and this is a hank. You can't knit from this. The hank has to be wound into a ball. People ask, well, why are they different? It all has to do with the machinery that the mills have, or the place, the dyer, or whoever you're buying it from. The balls tend to be European. That's the kind of equipment they have, and that's what they use. Same with, well, not necessarily. I was going to say same with these hanks, or skeins. These are produced in Peru. So this is the kind of machinery that they have. And then this, I'm not sure where these are produced. But obviously these are Peru. So it just depends on the equipment that, as far as I know, the equipment that they have. So in terms of where do you pull, from the inside or the outside? Some people say that you should pull from the outside because of the twist of the yarn. I don't know enough about that to actually speak intelligently about it. What I have learned is that if you pull from the inside and from the inside, by the time you get to the outside, this all collapses on itself. And the theory always was, well, it doesn't flop around if you're pulling it from the inside, but then you end up with a big mess in the end. So I would recommend pulling from the outside. If you have wound your ball, so suppose you got a hank, you didn't have a ball winder, you wind it yourself, be sure when you wind it that you wind it around your thumb, maybe 2 fingers, take it out, put them in again, wind again. Do not wind it really, really tight. You'll know it's tight if it feels like a hard ball when you pick it up. That stretches your yarn, and you don't want to do that. It'll change your gauge. It'll be, so you want to get in the habit of sticking your finger in there and winding around it, then take it out, change position, put it back, and keep doing that. So the next thing I wanted to sort of briefly touch on is blended yarns, yarns that have blends and yarns that don't. So this is a yarn, this is Rasta, and this is 100% merino wool. So this is all wool. This is also not all wool. This is a superwash wool with some polyamide. And this is meant to be a sock yarn. So the reason they put polyamide in it is to give it some extra strength. So that, because a sock, if this is meant to be sock yarn, that you're not wearing through holes in your sock. And I heard someone say the other day that you can wear your socks out faster if you make them too big, if they're rubbing around in your shoe. Don't know if that's exactly true, but so you want to make sure your socks fit you well and that they're not bunching up, because you can wear them out more. This is another sock yarn, and this one is Madeline Tosh, and this is 100% superwash wool. So this has been treated so that it won't shrink, and you can throw this in the washer. This is so now we get into, there's a few here that are some interesting blends. This one is called Kakagori from Noro, and it's cotton, silk, viscose, and polyamide. Now I heard somebody on a podcast the other day said viscose was bamboo. It's not. It's made from wood pulp, although it could be the pulp from bamboo. So maybe she was correct. And polyamide is another plastic derivative, I think. So this has a really interesting texture to it. It's soft, it's fun, and hopefully would wear pretty well with the viscose and the polyamide. But it's a raw silk, it's not the shiny, shiny silk. So that, and cotton, which is kind of a cool combo. Another combo that I really like, this is Milo, and this is merino and linen. And I really I like this. I just like the heathery feel to it and the look, the heathery look to it. So that's another interesting combo. And this one, this is so popular in the store right now. This is cotton and linen. And this is a perfect sweater yarn. And it's particularly good, you know, if everybody knows somebody who says they're allergic to wool. Some people are tested allergic, and other people are just sensitive, have very sensitive skin. So this is a good yarn for those people because it's soft once it knits up, and it doesn't have any of those wool fibers sticking out to make you itchy, and comes in gorgeous colors. But I like this one a lot. So linen and cotton. This one has another interesting, this is Road to China Light. And this one it's a sport weight, and it's alpaca, silk, camel, and cashmere. And could you get a better combination than that? It's just delightfully soft. It's not the least expensive yarn on the block, but for a nice, you know, a Sophie scarf or a, you know, a beautiful pair of mittens, one of the women in the shop uses this to line her mittens because she loves it so much. So they're just scrumptious. And then we have another linen combination. This is alpaca, linen, viscose from bamboo. So here is a viscose made from bamboo. So it is from the wood pulp of the bamboo, and something called micro tweed. So they've put in this little bit of tweediness. Now you can get, there is a yarn you can get that's just like a thread with little bits of tweed on it, so that you could add it to anything that you have to make into a tweed. And lastly, we have one that is a linen and silk. We have another, no, I think we have a cotton and silk. But this is linen and silk, and this has been very popular. It feels a little, it's not scratchy, a little stiff, I guess. As soon as you wash it, it just softens right up. So we love this one. We've made ponchos out of it, sweaters. It's just a great, great yarn.
Chai.
It's called Chai. Yes, I forgot to mention the name. I didn't mention this one either. This is Chi Chi. So that's just a little primer on different blends. So there are all kinds of blends. In fact, you don't find that much that are just pure fiber, pure wool, or pure, we have a few things that are pure alpaca, but we love the blends when they add stuff to it because it just makes them more special. So I think that's it for today. Remember that you're going to write in the comments, send us a comment, tell us where you're from and what you're knitting. We would love to know. You could also tell us what you're knitting, what fiber you're using. That would be fun to know too. So sign up for workshops, and we have some spaces in our regular classes that run Monday through Saturday. We have a choice every day, and some days Thursdays we have 3 choices. So we have evening classes Monday through Thursday, and morning Monday through Saturday, and afternoon Tuesday through Friday. So not all of them have openings, but you can call the shop and find out. So I hope you have a great week of knitting. I think we have here in the Northeast, we have a little rain off and on today and some tomorrow, so good knitting weather. So get a book on tape or something fun on TV and enjoy your knitting. And I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.